Welcome to this Foster Care Institute online training webinar, The Holidays, a Time of Joy and Sadness, brought to you by the Foster Care Institute. I'm your host, Dr. John DeGarmo, an author, a speaker, a trainer, and most importantly, a father, biological foster and adoptive parent. During this webinar, we're going to increase the awareness of the challenges and feelings of grief and loss that children in foster care often face during the holiday season, the season of joy that is often not so for children in foster care. We're going to help you increase the awareness of trauma and grief during the holiday season and how it impacts the lives of the children in care, as well as the families they're living with and the families they came from. And will help you gain an understanding of how to develop and implement strategies designed to aid these children with their feelings during this time of festivity, during this time of joy, during the time of holidays, the holiday season. Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, Hanukkah, the holidays are the time that families look forward to. A time when the house is filled with relatives, with friends, with laughter, with music, with candles, with food, with gifts. It is a time of joy. A time of joy. For traditional families, that is. It is a time where the grandparents come to visit and children from far away who are living abroad come, for the older kids to come back, for aunts and uncles and cousins, friends of the family. It's a time to fill up the guest bedrooms and fill up the kitchens and the family rooms. It's a time of wrapped presents under trees and by candles. It's a time of tables filled with food and refrigerators bursting with cold turkeys and hams. It's a time of plenty. It's a time of laughter. It's a time of warmth. It's a time of love. It is a time of family. For so many children, the holiday season is a time of mystery, a time of suspense, a time of anticipation where they've been looking forward to it, a time of excitement. Yet for children in foster care, the holiday season is nothing like that at all. For children in foster care, the children living in your homes and with your families, it is a time of sadness. It is a time where they remember and they're reminded that they are a foster child. Now, so many people have misconceptions about children in foster care, and one of those misconceptions is this: that when a child is placed into a foster home, they're grateful. They want to be in that foster home. They want to be with that foster family. Now, we both know that's not true. Children in foster care do not want to be in a foster home. When they're first placed into a home, they have those questions. They have those anxieties. They are confused. They are sad. They're full of sadness. They're full of anxiety. That's how it is with the holiday season as well. For children in foster care, this is not a time where they are home for the holidays, so to speak. While your house may be bursting with your family, they are not with their family. When your house is filled with friends, they are not with their friends. When your family is going over the river and through the woods, so to speak, to grandmother's house, or the aunts and uncle's house, or Christmas caroling, whatever it may be, they are not with their grandparents. They're not with their aunts and uncles. They're not with their family. The holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, Hanukkah, New Year's, and the holiday season is a reminder to a child that he is just that. a foster child. He feels that label so acutely during the holiday season. It's a reminder that they are not with their families. On Christmas morning, your own children are most likely with you. These children are not with their moms, their dads, their mommies, and their daddies. In fact, during the holiday season, they are often unsure if they will ever see their families again or when they will. When they will, if ever. Now, most likely, your house is filled with laughter, filled with joy, lots of great fun happening inside your own house during the holiday season. Of course, my house is filled with, we have so much fun on Christmas Day and Thanksgiving. We have friends coming over. It's a great time, great time. Family members coming over from in my house that happen to be from America and Australia and sometimes Europe. It's a great time. Probably not so in your house. You probably don't have the Aussie grandparents coming to your house, do you? Or the European relatives. But that's okay. You probably have your house filled nevertheless with all those family members, right? Right. These children in foster care, they're having fun too. They are enjoying being with your family during the holiday season, but they're going to struggle though. They're going to struggle with feelings of loyalty between you, their foster family, and their birth parents. They may feel guilty for having fun. Sounds strange, doesn't it? But they may feel guilty for having a good time, for laughing, for playing, for having a time of festivity and joy in your house because they feel they may be betraying their own birth family. They may feel they're letting their mom and their dad down by enjoying themselves with you. They may have conflicting loyalties. They may feel if I have fun with my foster parents, I'm letting my birth parents down. But I want to have fun. I like my foster parents. It's a tremendous time of conflicting loyalties during the holiday season that your child is going to struggle with. They're going to struggle with it. It is an emotional and stressful time for the child. It can be an emotional, stressful time for you. Because that child who is struggling internally with loyalties towards his birth parents and loyalties towards his foster parents that he may have come to love or like or enjoy spending time with, he may withdraw emotionally. He may become sad. He may cry. He may lash out. He may become angry. The emotions he does not know how to process or understand or comprehend, or he's struggling and grappling with. It can be an emotional time for you, for the child, and it can be an emotional time for the birth parents as well. So it is very important that you address these challenges and feelings that the child living in your family may have before the holiday season begins, before Thanksgiving, before the table is filled with food, before the turkey is cut, before Christmas, before the tree goes up, before the presents are wrapped under the tree, before the Christmas caroling begins and the Christmas cookies are made, before the candles are lit for Hanukkah, before the streamers and balloons are filled for New Year's Eve, before the big clock is set, before the party hats come on, before the grandparents and the aunts and the uncles and the cousins and all the friends come over, before all of that happens, you need to address these feelings and these challenges the child is facing inside of himself before any of this happens. You need to prepare the child ahead of time of what's going to happen in your home. So spend time talking to her about what the holiday you're celebrating, what it means, and what it represents. Let the child know, let her know how you celebrate this special day, why you celebrate it, and what the day means. What kind of family traditions does your family have, and why? In our household, we put up the Christmas tree the day after Thanksgiving. It's one of our Christmas traditions. We do it always at that time. For our family, December 23rd is a day where we invite lots of friends and family members over who will not be celebrating Christmas with us. My wife calls it the Eve of Christmas Eve, and we have lots of our former foster kids come over. It's one of our traditions. For our family, we open up one present Christmas Eve after church. We have our own family traditions, and they've started for a number of reasons. So we have children from foster care spending time with their family during these times. We discuss these traditions, we talk about them, and why our family celebrates it. And we look for ways to include the children in all that we do. We include these children in putting up the tree and decorating the tree. We include them. In fact, I include them when we go cut the tree down. I bring a lot of the kids with me in the car. We pile in the car the day after Thanksgiving, and we include the kids in it. We include them when we make the Christmas cookies. We include them when we light the candles and put the nativity set out. We include them on Thanksgiving, making the gravy, making the pumpkin pies and the chocolate pies and the apple pies, the turkey, the mint sauce, the mashed potatoes. We include them in all of that. We look for ways to include the children in all that we do, if appropriate, and if he feels comfortable during the holiday season. And we continue to discuss these things, these traditions, these celebrations, as they roll forth. Now, the child from foster care living with your family may have his own family traditions from his own birth family. Ask the child about those traditions. Ask your child what kind of traditions did they have. Maybe they had none. Most likely they did not have any, but they might. If they did have some traditions, try to include some of those traditions in your home in some way. Why? Well, it helps the child to feel more comfortable during this holiday season because they're comfortable with some of their own traditions, and more importantly, it reinforces to her that you consider her family traditions important and of value, that you consider her birth mom and her birth dad and her grandparents and cousins and aunts and uncles as important. It validates her own family, and she needs to hear that during this holiday season. Now, the children living in your home may have some very, very different traditions. They also may have had no traditions whatsoever. Perhaps they've never had a Christmas present. So many children in foster care never do. They may have not had a table filled with food during the holiday season. There may be no tree, no candles, no gifts, no Christmas caroling, no celebrations. I recall a time, 15-year-old child living in our home, living in our family, 15-year-old boy from foster care, mean as a snake, chip on his shoulder, angry at the world. Not only was he 15, and he was going through all that emotional angst that children go through at that age as their hormones are running crazy, but he'd also been heavily, heavily abused, and he was filled with anxieties. Just a, a sad, sad child who was full of anger at the world. Well, that Christmas morning, he opened up a present that my wife and I had really given a lot of thought to. He opened up that present and he unwrapped a black leather jacket. With a scowl on his face and anger in his voice, he looked at my wife and I and he said this, "Can I keep it?" And my wife said to him, "Of course, sweetheart. It's yours. And he looked at my wife, he looked at me, and he put his head down and he burst into tears. He burst into tears because nobody had given him a gift before. For children in foster care, that is often the case. They may have had no gift, no tree, no food, no celebration, no traditions at all. They may not understand the religious celebrations and the religious meanings that are associated and go on during the holiday season. You may need to discuss those with them. Why do you celebrate Christmas? What is Christmas? What is Hanukkah? Why do you celebrate these things? What is a nativity set? Why is there a manger? What's the baby for? Why do you light candles throughout the month of December? They may have no understanding whatsoever. They most likely will not. So you need to share those with them and discuss them with them. More than likely, the child will have those feelings of sadness and grief, those feelings of sadness and grief that we talked about earlier, due much in part due to the feelings of loyalty and betrayal and guilt that they're feeling during this time, and simply, of course, missing their mom and their dad, their mommies and their daddies. So allow him to discuss those feelings with you. Allow him time to grieve. Allow him time to cry. Allow him time to go in the bedroom, close the door, and be by himself. Especially if your house is filled with family members, if your house is noisy with laughter and conversation and music, he may need some time by himself. Perhaps he's not grieving. Perhaps he just needs time to process all that is going on. He might not be used to all this noise and these people. Allow him time to have his own space during the holiday season. Now, he might revert back to difficult behavior during this time as he tries to process his emotions, as he tries to comprehend what's going on, as he struggles with the mixed emotions and anxiety swirling inside him. He might become upset. He might become rebellious. He might begin complaining. He might begin complaining about the food, the size of the tree, the music, the gifts, whatever it may be. Again, he's struggling internally with all these mixed emotions. So be patient with him, be compassionate with him, and give him time. And reassure him that he is loved and that everything's going to be okay. He may not understand and accept that at first. Just reassure him that you are there for him and that his feelings do matter. His feelings do matter. We must remember that he is separated from his family during a time that is centered around just that, around family. He wants to go back home during the holiday season. He wants to be with mom and dad. And that is normal. Very normal. Do not take it personally. Do not take it personally. So, how do you help? How do you help him? Well, allow him to express himself. Encourage him to talk about his feelings. What's going on inside of him? How does he feel during this time? Ask him how he's doing. Pull him aside. When the house is full with people, pull him aside and say, hey, are you doing okay? Do you need anything? How can I help? How are you doing? Give him a hug. Reassure him. And recognize he may not be happy. And that's okay. Allow him time to grieve and to be alone. And that's okay too. Now, I was just talking to somebody earlier today about the holiday season coming up. And someone mentioned me, they have 5 million things to do before the holiday season. And that's how it is for so many of us, right? Right. We have, oh goodness, the end of school year for the year. There is Christmas cantatas and concerts. There's Christmas parties. There is Christmas caroling. You got to buy gifts and presents. You got to go to this event and that event. You've got to have food cooked. You've got to go visit this family, go visit that family. Families come to your house. It's a busy time. Well, you need to prepare your child for that busy time. And perhaps your house fills up too. Maybe you're going to have a house full of visitors. Maybe your house is the center of the family during the holiday season. You need to let the child know that you're going to be having visitors coming. And the house might be just a little bit crazy during this time. This is not your normal routine. The structure that you provided for that child is going to be a little bit off, and they may not be prepared for it. And then you may have that crazy uncle, that crazy aunt, that crazy family member, just like in the picture there. Crazy family member that everybody thinks is a little bit wacky coming to your house. You know, the real loud one, the real obnoxious one, the one that's cracking those really silly jokes and making those crazy faces that you just sick and tired of, right? Right. Or the crazy aunt who just brings the homemade ugly sweaters and pinches every child on the cheek. Or the grandmother or grandfather who's just a little bit off. Well, they may not be the children. The children may not be prepared for this, may not be ready for this. They may not feel comfortable around it. So give your child some time alone there too, if need be. Remind them of the importance of good behaviors and good manners because they may lash out. They're just not used to this time. This crazy time, this busy time, this house full of visitors and family members. It can bring confusion to the child. It can bring anxiety to the child. There are misconceptions about children in foster care. One of those misconceptions is that they are really not your children. They're just foster kids. You've heard them. This may happen in the holiday season as well. It is so important for the child that you let your birth family members and any visitor come to your house, whether it's your birth family members, your friends or family members or in-laws, whatever it may be, remind them that you have a new family member. A new family member, a member to the family, and that he is to be treated as such. We do not want him labeled as a foster child. We want him labeled as a family member. Your friends and your family, they don't know that. They don't know that. So remind them somehow, whether it's a phone call or a letter, an email, or a friendly, gentle reminder that, hey, we have a new member of the family, and and he can't wait for Christmas, and we're so excited for Christmas, and make sure you include him. Just treat him like family. Treat him like family. That's so important. Years ago, we had a Christmas when a child from foster care was relatively new in our home, relatively new in our family. Well, some members of my own family bought presents and gifts for all of my kids. And on Christmas morning, they were opening them left and right, papers flying through the air, their squeals of laughter and excitement. And my family members brought some great gifts for my own kids. The sad thing is this: they didn't buy any gifts for the children from foster care in my home. For our newest family members, they had no presents for them. And do you know what that did? Do you know what message that sent to the children in foster care in my own home? It sent them a message of this: that they are different, that they don't matter, that they are a foster kid, that they're not cared for, that they're not important. Heartbreaking. Absolutely heartbreaking. Did my family members intend to get that message? Most likely not. They just didn't understand. So the next year, I was prepared. I bought I bought some extra gifts, some extra presents, if you will, and I wrapped them up and I stored them away in the closet just in case we had a repeat, just in case some of the family members did not bring wrapped presents and gifts for the children from foster care living in my family. So now we're always ready. That's a great thing for you to do. Remind anybody coming to your house during the holiday season not to forget presents and gifts for the kids in foster care, your new family members, and just in case that they do, have some extra gifts ready just in case they do. And you know what? You can say, "Hey, guess what? Here's a present from Grandma. It's in the closet. Let me go get it. Here's a present from Uncle Lester. Let me go grab it." And you can pretend it's from them if you want. It's up to you. Just be prepared. Well, Christmas time, Christmas vacation is usually 2 weeks. 2 weeks the kids aren't in school. And guess what? That may drive you a little bit crazy. The kids are out of their routine, they're out of their norm, and they're a little bit wired, so to speak. So have some activities ready for them, for their sanity, and more importantly, for your sanity, right? Take them to the museum, take them to the library, and help them pick out a new book. Help them develop skills such as cooking. Help them to learn to include the kids in baking Christmas cookies and baking the pumpkin pies and the banana pies and the stuffing and mashing the potatoes and getting the rolls ready and the corn. Include them in those activities. Help them to develop some new hobbies. What a great time to create a life book for that child. Hey, holiday season's a great time to teach them skills like money managing. Encourage them to help you clean up the kitchen and clean up some of the rooms during the holiday season. Include them in all of those activities. Gives them something to do, helps them feel important, it teaches them new skills, it helps them be a part of the family. Don't forget their birth parents. Don't forget their biological family members, because guess what? They have not forgotten them. Send some cards to the birth family members. In fact, what a great opportunity during the holiday season to help the child, to sit next to that child and help them create their own homemade Christmas card. Does it need to be perfect? Absolutely not. But a homemade Christmas card from a child to the birth parent is always a perfect card. Whether that parent is in back at their own home, in a rehabilitation center, incarcerated, whatever it may be, reach out to them. Help the children buy some small gifts and wrap them for their birth parents. Send some pictures of the children to the birth parents during this time, or better yet, encourage the children to color and draw some own pictures themselves. Get out the pieces of paper and the markers and the crayons and encourage the kids to draw some pictures and send them to those birth parents. Encourage phone calls and contact during that time because those birth parents are hurting. They are hurting the fact that their child is not with them on Thanksgiving Day, on Christmas Day, on the holidays. And as we try to co-parent with these children, these parents, and try to help them become better parents, we need to encourage phone calls and contact if it is safe, if it is appropriate. Now, you may be, your schedule's busy. Your schedule is full on busy, and you may have visitations scheduled during the holiday season. But guess what? You have to take your child to the Christmas cantata and the school event and your own Christmas parties and your own church events, whatever it may be. Your schedule is full on busy, and you may struggle with one more thing to do. Well, for visitations during the holiday season, let your caseworker know your own schedule, and perhaps you can rearrange a time of a visitation so it doesn't conflict with something else. When a child does go to a visitation with their birth parents or biological family members during the holiday season, be prepared and expect for them to come back to your home with mixed feelings. They may be super excited returning from a visitation because their birth parents may have had some gifts for them. At the same time, they may be very, very sad because they recognize they can't be with their parents during the time. They may have higher levels of anxiety. They may be uh, sadder than sad or happier than happy. They can be bouncing off the walls or just gloomy and doomy. Expect that during this time and be prepared for it. Be prepared for it. It may be a time where you need to just kind of rein them a little bit, or it may be a time where you just need to give them a little bit more hugs and a little bit more love and compassion. Be patient during this time. Be very, very flexible during this time because visitations during the holiday season can be a little bit more challenging for you as a foster parent when the child returns back to your home. You may have your own travel plans. Remember Grandma who lives over the river and through the woods before you get to her house? Well, you may be spending Christmas Day there, or maybe Thanksgiving, or New Year's, or maybe a couple of days after Christmas. I don't know what your schedule is, but you may have your own travel plans. Let your caseworker know your travel plans beforehand. Get permission from your caseworker to travel, especially if you're going out of state. If you're going out of state, get written permission from the caseworker and if need be from the birth parents as well. Give the contact information to the caseworker wherever you're going. If you're going to grandparents' house or friends of the family members, whatever it may be, give the contact information to the caseworker. The address of where you're going, the phone number of where you're going, the phone number of where you can be reached at best, the dates that you'll be going. Give that information to the caseworker before you even leave. And discuss with the child your plans, where you're going, who you're going to go see, how long you'll be gone for, why you're going. Discuss this with a child before you go, before you even step foot into the car. All this will help make your family vacation during the holiday season the more joyful. To be sure, the holiday season can be a messy time. Food draped over the kitchen counters, tables a mess, scraps of food on the floor, Christmas wrapping paper all over the house, boxes shredded, whatever it may be, the house can be a bit messy. But more important than that, your child can be a so-called bit of a mess as well, a mess emotionally. Their emotions can be just swirling left and right, filled with anxiety and confusion that they don't really understand. Excuse that. Embrace it. Accept it. You're building memories with these children. You're building hopefully positive, loving, happy memories with these children during the holiday season. So put some of the mess aside and remember this. You're providing an opportunity for a child to heal during the holiday season and you're building memories. It might be the very first Thanksgiving, Hanukkah, Christmas, New Year's they've ever celebrated. For more on this topic and anything else related to foster care, check out my website, drjohndegarmofostercare.com. Several times throughout every single day, 365 days a year, and 366 on leap year, I'm posting lots of information on Facebook and on Twitter at Dr. John DeGarmo. And if I can help answer any questions you have on this or anything else related to foster care and adoption, please email me at drjohndegarmo@gmail.com. I promise you this, I will answer your email. For more on this subject and so many other foster care related issues, get a signed copy of my book, The Foster Parenting Manual, a practical guide to creating a loving, safe, and stable home. You can order copies of this book and all of my books on my website. My friend, I want to thank you. I want to thank you not only for taking this webinar, but thank you for being an advocate for children in foster care. Thank you for opening up your home, your heart. Thank you for opening up your family to children in need. For the Foster Care Institute, I'm Dr. John DeGarmo.